Along with many other parts of the country, Calgary is experiencing a housing crisis. The latest data published in this 2023 Housing Needs Assessment demonstrates just how much work is required to improve housing affordability in our city. What the assessment tells us this time around is that the housing crisis is affecting a wide range of Calgarians, including those looking to buy or rent a home, and those that are in the greatest need of affordable housing supports. The most recent indicators we looked at for this assessment tell us that based on recent market housing data, the median cost to buy a detached home has increased in price by 37% in the last 3 years. That means that for Calgarians looking to buy their first detached home in 2023 at a price that they can afford, so that they're spending no more than 30% of their income before tax on housing, an annual household income of $156,000 is required to adequately afford it. To adequately afford the median purchase cost of an apartment in 2023, an annual household income of $70,000 is needed for that new home buyer. And for those looking to rent, an annual income of $84,000 is needed to adequately afford average market rent in 2023. And that number has increased from $67,000 in 2022. The data shows that at least 84,600, or almost 1 in 5 Calgary households, could not afford their housing in 2021. That is according to the most recent federal census data we have. But in 2020, when the data was collected, housing conditions in Calgary were relatively favorable.
I was living in a single-bedroom apartment, and the rent was going to go up by 30% in the new year, which would have been this year. So I needed to find some other accommodations, but I was having difficulty with mobility issues, etc. And I had to start looking, which was very difficult. But my 2 daughters who were employed and doing a lot of work, it was almost like a second job for them to help me. Something has to be done. Somebody, in this case the city, I guess, has to have a vision and follow through with that vision. Whether it's the price of land, whether it's the fact that, yes, nobody's wages have kept up with inflation. Well, pensions, both federal and provincial, certainly haven't kept up with inflation. So I would say we as a group are probably more at risk.
We've seen there's a few actions in there that certainly speak to advocacy to the provincial government. Housing is not solved unless we have all 3 orders of government working to address the housing affordability crisis. And so there may be some actions that we agree and disagree on, but ultimately our aim and our intent for the housing strategy as a whole is that we bring the provincial and federal governments to the table and we work together to tackle this crisis. That's what we want to achieve.